I have not shut up about this movie since I saw it in May 2025 at a film festival, and it is finally here. It's finally here. Hello, hello, it's Adam here, and today we are talking about one of my most long awaited, most anticipated films of the year. I have been waiting for this movie to hit a general audience for ages. It's finally here. It's called It Ends, written and directed by Alexander Ullom. This movie has undergone a long and winding road to getting into theaters. You know, it did the festival circuit for a while, and then it ended up on the Letterboxd video store. It did not have distribution. It wound up there and it did fairly well, and then Neon immediately scooped it for a 2026 release. It almost feels cosmic because in 2026 we've been having a lot of conversations around these young Gen Z filmmakers coming in with these stories that are really resonating with audiences. Obsession is one of the highest grossing films of the year. It was made for less than $1 million. Backrooms was a smash for A24. But I think if we're gonna have this conversation, Alexander Ullom absolutely needs to be in that conversation. He is doing something so special with his debut feature, It Ends. I think it really floored me with how confident and in command he is of the story he's telling, of the tone he is employing, and what he's doing with, you know, the horror and the existential dread and all of the things that make this movie what it is. I've said it many times in many different forms of media, but this is a film I wish I had when I was about to graduate college. I think it so beautifully speaks to that feeling of entering the real world, that like weird limbo between, you know, college and being an adult. It tells the story of four friends who are undergoing a road trip to move out of college and back home and to enter the real world when they miss a turn and end up on an endless road. They do not know where this road is going. They just know that they have to ride it. If they are out of the car for longer than a certain amount of time, they are besieged by strange forces. I won't get into too much. And so they must adjust to this new existence they are thrust into and really get to the bottom of what this all means. It is such a unique coming of age story, and I think it's part existential horror and it's also like part hangout movie. I do think some people are going to put their noses up and be like, well, it's not real, actually, it's not horror because it shut up. Shut up. I think it is terrifying. It is suffocating. It is very overwhelming, and it gradually shifts from this visceral sense of horror to this existential dread, and it becomes something entirely different. What's so impressive, he does it so confidently and he does it so well. There's no like jarring shift, so to speak. I don't think it feels like out of sorts. I think it flows very naturally as it kind of lightens up and we kind of devolve into this different sort of storytelling. It all feels very connected, but there are very different pieces to it. I think behind the camera, this kid is amazing. I'm so impressed. There's this suffocation in that first half. It feels like really overwhelming and it feels like we're gonna get our skin clawed off, you know? And what is so impressive too is like, though we are contained to the car for a large amount of the film, it feels so alive and dynamic, and he's still able to make it feel cinematic and interesting. And then, like I said, as we devolve into this more kind of hangout sensibility, the world feels like it opens up a little bit. The space evolves, the way these characters occupy the space evolves, the way they're shot evolves. I think it's so impressive. There are established filmmakers who may have been making movies for years and years who I don't think could pull off a tonal balance quite like this. If you're one of those people who's always complaining that we don't have like discoveries anymore, there's no new fresh faces, this is a movie for you. We have four performers in here who I wasn't familiar with prior to this film. All are relatively early in their careers, and they're all amazing in this. I think there is such a deep history between the four of them, even though we are plopped right into this big moment, even though we are not given all of the information and like the way they interact, etc., we fully understand and grasp kind of the power dynamics in this little quartet and the way everybody operates with one another and the way everyone kind of perceives one another. Everyone is very detailed and very fleshed out. We have Tyler, played by Mitchell Cole. He is kind of the one in the group who had to become an adult first. He is out there in the real world, and he kind of scoffs at this like youthful shenanigans that the other three kind of get caught up in from time to time. He feels the most like grounded, but there's also maybe this little bit of him that is jealous that he had to grow up quicker. And then we have James, played by Phineas Yoon. He is kind of the vessel for the film, I would say. He is phenomenal. Oh my goodness, the journey he goes on as James is outstanding. James really starts this film as very emotionally closed off to the world. Even his friends like feel like they can't get a full hold on him. We can tell he has this idea of what like adulthood is. It's not a rosy view of it, but he has this clear idea of what it's supposed to be and is very much like performing that. And he's trying very hard to like hold it down for this group and search for meaning, and is just like so desperate to have this all like mean something. It's a great arc that unfolds, and Yoon does a great job at mastering it. Akira Jackson, lovely force of nature as Day. I think she brings a lot of fun, dry wit to the group, but also there is like this pain and heart. She is like really, grappling with the idea of her future and like wondering if like she should have done what she did. And Noah Toth does a great job with Fisher. Fisher starts like really rosy and plucky at the beginning, and I think the situation takes the most obvious toll on him. It's really interesting watching him play with that. I think again, all four of these people are so detailed in their work, and they really thrive in creating these lived-in relationships, especially the quiet moments. There is like an unspoken history there that is so impressive. Speaking of the quiet, I love and appreciate that Alexander Ullom like really sits in the quiet and isn't afraid to embrace the quiet. I think so much of horror, there can be this tendency to like really get in your face and like really go for it. And I think he like allows us to sit in those quiet moments, to sit with what we've learned, to sit with these characters and think of the predicament. And I think thematically it makes it all the more richer. The editing is really crisp. There's moments where it just goes and goes. It's sharp and quick, and the other moments where we are like really resting on a shot and really staying with the shot. I think that is so smart. It looks beautiful. Even though we are trapped on this road, there is like this wonder and mysticism there. It is just a road going through the woods, but like there is this like grandiose feeling about it. It feels otherworldly in a way. I love this movie so much. There's a reason I have not shut up about it. I've been championing it since May. It's so exciting to experience a debut like this that is so sure of itself, so confident, and does it so well. There's nothing really quite like this, especially like tonally. And I think it is very honest. I think it'll resonate universally, but I do think it is speaking to like Gen Z specifically in a way that is not trying hard to be Gen Z. I think obviously like everyone involved is authentically Gen Z, so that helps, but it is speaking to a generation right now who has come of age in a very chaotic world. And like that totally resonated for me as like a millennial. I feel like myself growing up, I have never felt like the world was stable around me. Like it has always felt tumultuous. I just think it really speaks to that anxiety and that fear that comes with entering adulthood in a very specific way that I haven't really felt. I feel like so many times coming of age movies, we experience the coming of age and then it's like fine, it's fine. I think we forget that people in their early 20s are also coming of age too. And I don't think a lot of coming of age stories tap into this very specific moment. What is so great is this film understands the way adulthood feels, like this never-ending, daunting road ahead of you, and it feels increasingly pointless as you chug along, right? I rewatched this movie today, and even today, I just felt like this ache because like sometimes with everything going on in the world, it does feel so pointless. You know, want to keep our head up and be positive, but everything around us is so loud and debilitating. And you know, there's also this idea of like, we want to take the road all the way with the people we started with. And as much as we want there to be some grand meaning to everything, sometimes bad things just happen. Sometimes people peel off on the road, you know? This film isn't holding your hand and trying to like give you a specific meaning, but for me, you know, I think this movie is really speaking to how meaning comes from us. We give our life meaning. Things just happen. Things can feel so out of our control. What gives this life and our existence meaning is the way we proceed from bad things, from redirections, and how we let it inform our next steps going forward. And I think the beauty of this script, of this movie, is that despite the fact that this is a dire situation, it is so very bleak, I didn't feel empty when it ended. I actually felt very full. I don't think it ends on a sour note, to be quite honest. There is a promise of things turning out okay. I don't think the world necessarily gets better, and Alexander Ullom isn't promising that, but you do equip yourself with the means to navigate it and try your best. The world isn't getting better, but you get better at handling it. You are better at like building things and people around you to persevere through it. Please excuse the puns, but like there is no roadmap for life, right? Like nobody has been handed this perfectly executed map in order to succeed. We are all driving blindly and aimlessly. But I think what is important is that we do keep going. Everyone is trying their best, and sometimes the best is just simply not taking your foot off the gas, just continuing along. I think this is such a bright future for this filmmaker. I am so excited to like see what he does. He already has his next film lined up with Neon. I'm so excited in however many years to like look back and be like, I remember watching that. I remember seeing his first film, because gosh, what a talent. He said during the Q&A I saw last year, he was 23 when he made this. He would be, I believe, like 27 now. So if he's this good when he was 23, imagine how great he is going to be now making this second feature, and down the line when he gets more and more resources and support poured into him. I love this movie. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 the first time I saw it. I watched it again when it was on the Letterboxd store and it locked it in, and I watched it again in preparation for an interview coming later. Very excited about, and I'm still at a 4.5. I think this movie is so needed and so beautiful. I think it's gonna be very specific, but it's gonna speak to the people that need it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do with a YouTube video: like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me everywhere, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.